suite.
We're here. We're ready to disapart the Smiths. Take them apart. Up, sweet.
Go Canada!
Go Canada! Quand même mélangeant, souvent les autres sont blancs et rouges, les autres on est rouges et noirs. On a un peu de noir aujourd'hui. Ah, c'est la capote. J'ai assez hâte de le dire tantôt.
Hey, what's problem? Zwei. No problem. Hey, now.
Very
Takže všetko je predstavené. Prvé štvrťfinále pripravené, ale niekto tu ešte chýba. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to introduce you official mascot 2019 IIHF as a Euro Championship. Takže poďme spolu privítať. Spolu, please welcome together.
There's Ray, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. How's that, Benny? 1, 2, 1, 2. I had my hand over it. Check 1, 2, Benny. That's funny, isn't it? Yeah, that's funny stuff.
Oh,
1, 2,
he
1.
must be tired, Benny. That's not funny.
I think that's Captains Rafael Diaz, Kyle Turris exchanging their traditional gifts prior to this quarterfinal matchup between Canada and Switzerland. Alain Vigneault's team comes in having won 6 in a row after losing its opener to Finland. Swiss under Patrick Fischer won their first 4 games and lost to Sweden, Russia, and the Czechs. The game against the Czechs saw them pull their goaltender in a tie game, need a regulation win for 3 points to overtake the Czechs, so they gave up a empty net goal in a tie game. But the Swiss, with Nino Niederreiter, have 6 National Hockey League players and fresh memories of a win over Canada last year in the semifinals, a game they won 3-2, never trailed in that game. And they bring back 15 players from last year's team, including 31-year-old Leonardo Giannoni in goal. He allowed 2 goals on 45 shots against Canada in that semifinal game of a year ago. Matt Murray gets the start once again for Canada. Posted a shutout on 28 shots against Team USA in his last start. The Americans taking on Russia in the other early quarterfinal going on today in Bratislava.
Traditionally, you need to be patient against the Swiss. They bend, they don't break. They frustrate you because they're comfortable playing a style that doesn't pressure you a lot. Canada would be the favorite but you can get yourselves into trouble against the Swiss pretty quickly if you don't play a smart hockey game.
Fired in by Michael Forup. That's knocked away by Murray and back at center ice. Here is Forup with it. And fires that down the ice. Icing called. Forup, one of 15 players for the Swiss who plays in the Swiss National League, the old Swiss A-League.
Before I started the year, this past year in Carolina, he signed a free agent deal. He played just one game in the American Hockey League. They wanted to send him to the ECHL, and like a lot of European players, he had an out. He came back to play in Ambri Piatti in the Swiss League, as you mentioned.
That pass is picked off and centered by Damon Severson, knocked away by Giannone, who was terrific in the medal round a year ago. The Swiss scored an upset win over the Finns behind the goaltending of Giannone, who almost literally stood on his head in that game. Then he beat Canada before the Swiss fell to Sweden in the gold medal game. The Swiss getting a silver medal, their second since 2013 at the Worlds. Dubois drops it back for Nurse. That's shipped away, and a chance now. Brought in by Niederreiter. Fiala for Niederreiter, alone in front, and the puck right on the goal line. Nurse batting at it, and the puck stays out. Somehow, that stays out as Matt Murray turns away Niederreiter in tight.
There's the turnover in the neutral zone. I talked about the patience that the Swiss play with. They're in good position defensively, and Niederreiter, who had a tremendous run in Carolina after being traded from the Minnesota Wild. Oh man, that puck is within an inch of the goal line. Matt Murray makes the stop. You see it going back towards the goal line, and that puck is stopped and saved by the defense. Matt Murray's headed right to the Canadian bench. They're going to take a look at this. I will get an overhead view, but it looks like the puck was saved by the Canadian defense. Murray's looks like getting a stick dried off as it got snowed under with the guys flying into the crease. But 49 seconds into the game, the pass from Fiala to Nino Niederreiter, the shot goes through the legs, and it's going to be Darnell Nurse, who turned the puck over in the neutral zone, who spins it back out. You'll see the puck pop out towards the right leg of Murray. It seems to hit his leg again and then goes back towards the net.
So Martin Frano, the referee from the Czech Republic, is talking to the video goal judge.
So it's going to be here after the puck is shot into Murray's leg. It comes back towards the goal line. I don't know how you're going to be able to see anything unless it's in this view, whether the puck went over the goal line. To me, it doesn't appear so. Watch when Nurse clears the puck. It's going to hit his leg and then come back towards the post. All you can see is his black pants, and there's the puck still outside the goal line. A major stop and a big break for Canada in the first minute of play.
Nikita Gusev has scored for Russia.
The puck didn't cross the line, so call on the ice stands, no goal.
So no goal here. Nikita Gusev 67 seconds in for the Russians. They have a 1-0 lead on the United States.
The U.S. needs that like a rock dropped on their foot. They're playing without Dylan Larkin and Derek Ryan, who are both out for the tournament today. It's probably the second shift of the game, and Russia already up 1-0.
Sean Couturier busts in, throws it back in front, chipped on by Reinhardt. That's knocked away by Giannone. The puck still loose. Reinhardt digging for it. Now Niederreiter has it back for the Swiss. Niederreiter traded by Minnesota to Carolina in midseason, took off for the Hurricanes in the second half. And it's fired down by Ganazzi. Loose puck goes to Anthony Cirelli, and Diaz is back to pick it up.
The Swiss are without Yannick Weber and Janis Mosier, two defensemen today who are both injured. So the Swiss just with 6D, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but most times they don't play with just 6.
Roman Josi, who just fired that in, a workhorse for the Swiss on their blue line. Stetcher back for it. Throws that ahead, kept alive by Josi. Centering pass for Josi, knocked away, now scooped up by Thomas Chabot, who's got a new head coach in Ottawa to meet when he gets back home. DJ Smith announced today as the new head coach in Ottawa.
3-year deal for Smith, which leaves Toronto with no assistant coaches. Jim Hiller had previously departed, and now DJ Smith.
Chabot rink wide for Stetcher, up through the middle for Matthew Joseph. And back to pick it up is Fora. Pass in the middle for Marchini. He works in and shoots. That was high and wide. Up in behind the goal. Lionel Marchini centers it, and again knocked away by Murray. Good scoring chances for Switzerland here in the early going. This is not the Swiss team you're accustomed to seeing internationally. Much more aggressive.
When Patrick Fischer took over as the head coach over 3 years ago, he said one of his initial missions was to make it okay to make a mistake. It's a very un-Swiss way, which is a very tedious, plodding, disciplined style. He wants more creativity, more aggression, as you mentioned, Gordon. They've gotten to it, and they've become even more of a thorn in some team sides.
Puck knocked ahead. Moser trying to knock that down. Andres Ambuel on it now for the Swiss. Ambuel playing in his 15th World Championship. Missed last year. That ended his streak at 14 straight. Berchi in, centers it. Murray knocked that away. Here's Ambuel with it. Andres Ambuel, long shot. That deflected wide. And Marchessault knocks that down for Canada. Lead pass finds Stone. Canada changing. Stone's down there by himself. Stone slides that across. Off the bench comes Dante Fabro. Centering pass. And a shot by Marchessault was blocked in front by Yossi. Marchessault across the Fabro. Shoots. That's off the outside of the goal frame.
Fabro had some room. Just missed it up on the top right.
Here's Fabro again. Works it back in. Fabro drops that down to Stone. A centering pass for Couturier. Spins and shoots. And Giannoni makes the stop.
Not surprisingly, Jonathan Marchessault had something to do with this offensive chance. He starts to play in the defensive zone. And by the time Fabro gets the puck, Marchessault's going to make himself available. Blocked once, but look at him snap this pass through the seam. And there is room up on the top right. Fabro, who scored his first NHL goal in 4 regular season games after signing with the Nashville Predators, misses up on the blocker side. He's an impressive young player, as the Predators were able to get him signed 3 years into his college career as he left Boston University to sign in March.
Joel Ganazzi, a lead pass, trying to find Nico Hischier at center ice. Hischier, the first overall pick in the draft a couple of years ago, the first Swiss player to go first overall.
Previously, Niederreiter was the highest picked Swiss player. He was at number 5 by the New York Islanders.
Knocked down by Cirelli. Couturier trying to find the handle. Here's Diaz with it. Rafael Diaz, the longtime Swiss international, moves in and shoots, but that's called offside at the Canadian line.
Diaz played 201 games in the National Hockey League. He's counted upon for pretty big minutes by head coach Patrick Fischer. Diaz's sister is the women's national team coach in Switzerland. She coached at the Olympics and the past couple of World Championships as well. 3rd year as the captain of the international squad.
Matthew Joseph picks that up, pokes it ahead, but it's knocked down. And moved out by Lucas Frick. Nurse. Up ahead, Adam Henrique chips that down, and Giannoni way out to play it. Here's Gregory Hoffman with it. Hoffman scored in that win for Switzerland over Canada last year in the semifinals. Haas. Back to Frick. Head for Sven Andrighetto, who chips that down, the Colorado forward. And Nurse. Up ahead for Strome. Dylan Strome had Romain Lawful over him, and now it's picked up by Damon Severson. Lead pass to Matthew Joseph working in. Joseph chips that down to the Swiss zone. Philip Kurashev brings it around, knocked down by Severson. Severson to Strome, back at the point. It got away from Jared McCann, a race for it. In comes Shervay, the speedster, moves in and shoots, and Murray makes the stop. Tristan Shervay also scored in that game against Canada, got the opening goal in that victory. Canada never led in that game. Strome up to McCann, in, shoots, and Kurashev got a stick on that. At the point is Shea Theodore. Slaps that towards the goal. Rebound, loose in front for Turris. He couldn't find the handle. Now Theodore steps up. Shea Theodore down to Kyle Turris. Back to Theodore, skipped over his stick and back out. Lead pass for Turris with Canada changing. Chips that down to the Swiss zone. Here's Tyson Jost taking the spot of Anthony Mantha on the wing. As Mantha was handed that 1-game suspension for a hit to the head against Team USA's Colin White. Back at the point is Fabro. Whips it across to Chabot. Thomas Chabot in, shoots, dribbling puck. Giannoni makes the stop, and he's able to seal the rebound. No score here in the opening period. The quarterfinals are here at the World Hockey Championship. Kosica, no score between Canada and Switzerland in the quarterfinals of the World Hockey Championship. The semifinals will be a little different this year. It used to be a straight bracket, so the winner of one would face the winner of another quarterfinal and so on. But now the teams have been ranked from 1 to 8. The highest remaining seed will play the lowest. The middle two will face each other in the semi. So no more getting a easier opponent thanks to an upset in the opening round. Here's Troy Stetcher. Banks it ahead for Pierre-Luc Dubois. The puck in his feet. And turned over. Ambuel had it for a moment. Now Marchessault back with it. Marchessault to Stone. In comes Mark Stone. He's knocked down. And the battle ensues along the boards. Marchessault came in on Fora. And now Frick back with it, being shadowed there by Stone. He turns it over, and Stone races to it. Now Fora tries the other side, and Marchessault stepped into him. Puck loose along the boards. The lead pass there for Niederreiter just missed. Niederreiter had a great chance here in the opening seconds of this first period. Now Chabot picks that free for Canada. Niederreiter almost stole that away. And Reinhart back with it. Marchessault lifts it back to the Swiss line. In comes Cirelli on it. Anthony Cirelli pulls in, shoots, and Giannoni got a piece of that. Reinhart tries to center it, and Giannoni gets the blocker down to hold on to that.
I can see why any coach that would have Anthony Cirelli on their team would just simply love the guy. There is nothing but effort with Cirelli. Watch him, there's nowhere to go with the puck except he sticks his nose right over top of it and drives to the front of the net. He creates all kinds of havoc, and if Reinhart is just a smidge quicker, that puck's going to come right to the front of the net. A terrific tournament for Cirelli, who's in his rookie season scored 19 goals for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Couturier wins that faceoff, back to Cirelli, to Theodore, across to Fabro, along wrist shot, and Giannoni punches that away. Later on tonight in this arena, it'll be Sweden against Finland in the second quarterfinal here. In Bratislava, the Czechs against Germany. Gregory Hoffman picks up that loose puck. Rink wide pass, picked off by Couturier, ahead for Cirelli. In comes Cirelli, with Couturier trailing. Cirelli pivots back and throws it back at the point for Fabro. Across to Theodore. Threads that pass ahead. It's off the skate of Reinhart. And Gregory Hoffman has it back. And that shoot-in was after an offside, and play is called at the Canadian line.
One of the most difficult things for Canada will be to establish enough momentum to continually forecheck to put the Swiss under duress. They're comfortable playing when they don't have the puck a lot. One thing Patrick Fisher does with his team that Alain Vigneault might have to counter with the Canadian lineup is nobody plays very much for the Swiss. They use their entire bench. There's one player right there, Roman Josi, that has the puck, that played more than 20 minutes in the first 7 games of the series, averaged 20 minutes. The rest of them are all in the 14, 15, 16-minute mark.
Severson ahead for Strome. That's knocked down, and Josi back with it. Moved ahead by Kurashev, who played in the World Junior Championship this year for the Swiss.
And 6 goals in 7 games. Terrific tournament.
Led the tournament in goal scoring. Brought up by Shervay. Tristan Sherman began his career with Bern with their 16-year-old team. Their U16 team's been there ever since. 12 straight here in their organization. They won the Swiss League title this year. Christoph Bersching plays that down to Marchini, but the pass is offside.
Look at the size difference between Marchini and Nurse. Marchini is 5'6". He clocks in at about 143 pounds. He can absolutely fly. 22 goals for Zug in the Swiss League this year.
Played for the Peterborough Petes for a couple of years, 2010 through 2012. Turris wins the face-off back to Nurse. And Severson got bottled up there on the forecheck by Moser. Away it goes to Tyson Jost. Jumps up to play wing on this line with McCann and Turris. And the puck comes free to Jost. The Colorado first rounder takes the return pass, walks in and shoots. And Giannoni stopped that short side. Ambuel up ahead for Moser. And now Moser in on Nurse. Simone Moser drops that back to Yossi. Yossi bowls his way in, throws it across, and McCann picks off that pass and sends it back down the ice. And that'll be an icing call against the Canadians. No one heard the whistle. I believe there was one.
Nino Niederreiter flipped the puck up into his hand because he thought it was icing.
Marchessault came off the bench. He never heard a whistle.
Nobody's quite sure what's going on, and so they'll meet in the middle of the ice. I'm with you. I didn't even look twice. I assumed it was icing, and there was guys coming off the bench, and Niederreiter's got the puck in his hand, which would be a penalty. And now Alain Vigneault's like, wait a minute, nobody called it. Kirk Muller wants to draw out at center ice, but since Canada's the home team, they will be able to get Sean Couturier out for the defensive zone draw. I'm sure Nino Hischier, who plays in New Jersey, loves looking across the face-off and sees that Couturier from the Flyers is back out there.
So if it's icing, why did Canada get the change?
Because it's totally screwed up on this draw. There's no other explanation for that.
Diaz holds the line and fires that wide.
Oh, details, details.
Here's Fiala, centering pass, knocked down by Philip Myers. Now Fiala back with it. Works it back in front, and Niederreiter hammered that high and wide.
Two great chances in this first 10 minutes for Nino Niederreiter.
Here he is again. Niederreiter works back in the corner with it. Feeds that back to Diaz. Rafael Diaz. Down to Fiala. Loose in the corner is Niederreiter. Spins away from Couturier. And again, Niederreiter feeds that down to Fiala. Back at the point, Diaz punted that wide. Now Yossi tied up there by Reinhardt. Yossi still with it. Being harassed there by Myers. Plays it back in the corner. Niederreiter banks it back to Yossi. Niederreiter got flattened there by Myers. Hischier with it now. Nico Hischier, long time in the offensive zone here for Switzerland. And Reinhardt leans into Hischier. Yossi moves up. Walks off the boards. Yossi in, shoots. That goes over the glass and out of play. 9:09 to go here in the opening period. Still no score. No score here in Kosice and Bratislava. Russia has a 1-0 lead on the United States. Gusev is at the crossbar looking for his second goal of the game. The shots are 11-1 there for the Russians against the United States. Here, 4-2 in favor of Canada over Switzerland, but the Swiss have had a number of good chances in tight here so far in the first period. Mark Stone works it and shoots. Giannoni the save and freezes that as Dubois was looking for it.
That's Canada's 5th shot of the period. It doesn't feel like they've had 5, but when Giannoni has handled the puck, he's made a couple of stops that have been unorthodox to say the least. Stone's shot is a run-of-the-mill wrister that Giannoni's not able to field cleanly. It hits him right in the chest, and he burps out the rebound. If you're Canada, you got to be looking at this and say there's some extra pucks around the front of the net. Vigneault frustrated with the official who he felt blew the whistle too quickly, that was a loose puck that should have still been in play.
Face-off scramble. Christophe Barchi trying to pull that out. Back of the point it goes. Theodore, a long shot. Giannoni save, rebound. Flipped wide by Dubois.
There's another rebound.
Simone Moser back with it. And Moser throws out ahead for Ambuel. Tied up at center ice by Fabro, who got run over accidentally by Stone. Fabro's taken off the full face shield. Got hit in the face with the puck against Great Britain 6 seconds into his first shift. And now Marchessault back with it. Rink wide, he goes for Theodore, takes it off the sideboards and shoots, and Giannoni makes the stop. That dropped down as well.
I'm telling you, this is a goalie that is not comfortable. If you're looking at this, you're thinking there's loose pucks every time. This is a 60-foot shot through some traffic, but Giannoni's got to be able to handle it. It's tipped by Stone. When it hits him, the rebound drops right to Pierre-Luc Dubois, who's come from the circle. He's in good position to spin for the rebound, and Giannoni actually makes a right pad stop, but he's made every stop more difficult than it needs to be so far.
Pass. Up ahead for Andrighetto, moving in. Andrighetto works back through the traffic. Andrighetto swings across the top. Little wrist shot deflects down. Murray down, and the rebound batted wide by Shabbat. Gaetan Haas with it. Back at the point he goes. Romain Lawful has it knocked down by Stetcher, who taps it ahead for Henrique. Adam Henrique works in. Throws that pass ahead for Strome. A sharp angle shot. Giannoni makes the save. Now Strome was tied up by Ganazzi. And Lawful lifts it high in the air and back down to the Canadian zone. Shabbat, lead pass for Strome. Pass goes back to Shabbat, walks in and shoots. Giannoni save, and again a long rebound. And it's cleaned up by Sherbe, who banks it back down to the Canadian zone. Back goes Stetcher. Icing called against the Swiss.
I don't mean to belabor the point here, but it's like there's an eject button right in the middle of Leonardo Giannoni's chest. Every puck that hits him bounces away. The coaches notice it, the players notice it. It's really unsettling when your goalie has a day that doesn't look like he's under control or he seems really calm.
Now remember, in the Olympics last year, Giannoni got shelled against Canada, allowed 4 goals on 12 shots before being pulled in that game, and came back with a brilliant performance in the semifinal a couple of months later at the Worlds. Jost picks that puck free, loose puck, and that's flipped wide by Turris. McCann down to Jost. Feeds that back at the point for Fabro, across to Theodore. Theodore threads that pass in front for Jost. Tyson Jost spins away from Kurashev. In the corner now, McCann, a centering pass, flipped wide again by Turris. Now Giannoni will pounce on that as Turris got flattened in front of the Swiss goal.
A lot more zone time, shift by shift by shift. Canada's starting to spend more time in this half of the ice. This is the part of the game that the Swiss are comfortable playing, however, is in their own zone, playing without the puck. You see they've got 4 guys within 3 feet of the blue paint. Really difficult to get the puck away, and finally Diaz touches the puck to Giannoni, who actually gets his head sat on by Turris as he got knocked down. Kyle Turris had a terrific tournament for Canada. He's already got 9 points in the tournament in the 7 games, and I think he's looked more and more comfortable, Gord, as the tournament's gone along.
Fischer won the face-off away from Couturier. Now Severson steps up for Canada. Taking the not loose puck, Couturier backing him up. And the puck offside at the Swiss line as Reinhardt brought it in.
Sam Reinhardt's line has come along later in the tournament. I thought Sorelli's gotten better. Couturier's been quieter offensively than I thought he was going to be. Just one goal and a couple of helpers, but Reinhardt has gotten himself closer to the net over the last couple of years, stations himself more regularly on top of the paint, and he's become a real dangerous player there.
Cirelli for Severson, busting in, that bounced away from him. Mikhail Sergachev has scored in the power play for Team USA, a 2-0 lead. The shots are 14-3 for Russia in that game.
Russia has just laid waste to that side of the draw, and now in the quarterfinal, a great start early.
Fiala collided with Cirelli. He went down, and now picked up by Severson. Cross he goes to Cirelli. In comes Anthony Cirelli, feeds it back to Darnell Nurse. A wrist shot that was blocked by Lawful. Romain Lawful feeds it across to Yossi, who fires it down to the Canadian zone. Andrighetto tied up in the corner by Couturier. And now Fiala picks it free. Fiala poke check there by Severson, picked out by Nurse. Lawful trying to keep it alive, but Stone picked that free and moved it back to center. Haas sends that down, and Marchini sends it in. Murray gloves it down for Nurse. Nurse lost his footing and now picked up by Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois with Stone and Marchessault. Dubois tried to drop it back. Chabot jumped in. And now moved up ahead by Andrighetto. Back is Troy Stetcher. Across to Thomas Chabot. Chabot, quick lead pass for Dubois, streaking down the left side. Dubois posts up and feeds it back down to Chabot in tight. Chabot has a look back to Stetcher. Cross he goes to Dubois. A little wrist shot goes off a leg and wide. And now Marchessault racing to it. Feeds it down to Dubois. Back for Marchessault, a long wrist shot goes wide, bounces back to Chabot. In for Stone. Stone, a centering pass, goes all the way back to Stetcher. Off the bench comes Strome with a quick shot. And that was blocked by Berchi. And Christoph Berchi sends that down the ice. Both teams changing inside 5 to go here in the opening period. Stetcher for Joseph, chips that down to the Swiss zone, and that'll be an icing call against Canada.
Stetcher's pass jammed up Joseph, and the puck's deflected down the ice. Another one of Canada's better penalty killers in this tournament. Joseph and Cirelli have been terrific, and Troy Stetcher, much as he does in Vancouver, kind of under the radar. You don't really talk much about him, but he becomes a more dependable player as the year went on in Vancouver. He played bigger minutes with the injuries to Alex Edler and Chris Tanev, and here in the tournament, he's elevated alongside of Thomas Chabot on one of Canada's top 2 pairs.
Lawful back for it. Great pass by Ganazzi. Knocked down to the Canadian line by Couturier. Break wide pass. Couturier moves in. Sean Couturier swings it back in front. Cirelli just missed on that. Back to Couturier it goes. Looks across the top. Feeds across for Severson. Back for Nurse. A shot. That just wide. And now Lawful will get bottled up. And racing ahead is Severson to keep it alive for Canada. Pokes that down to Cirelli. A centering pass, and Giannoni reached out and knocked that away from the non-rushing Anthony Cirelli. Here's Couturier. That wrist shot was blocked. Hischier almost a break there, and Nurse swings back for the puck. Canada changing. Severson works in, shoots that wide. Chervais waiting for it. At the line, kept alive by Turris. Flips it back in deep. That goes Fora for it. He finds Chervais. Back to Kurashev. Kurashev works in. Going to drop that back for Marchini. He was tied up there by Theodore. Now loose in the corner is Chervais. Back at the point, Fora. And that shot floats wide from Frick. Chervais knocked down by Theodore. And that's going to be a penalty to Canada as Jared McCann comes over for a word, and the Swiss will get the game's first power play. Down goes Tristan Shervay. Interference and calling us Jared McCann. Swiss power play is 4 for 35 in the tournament, goes to work.
Most power plays in the tournament, but just 4 power play goals, as you mentioned. You'd think somewhere you'd get one by accident.
Marchini plays that back in the corner for Hischier. Looking there to Niederreiter. Back at the point is Gaetan Haas. The forward works the point in the power play across to Josi. Haas back to Josi. That wrist shot was blocked by Couturier. And Couturier trying to get it by Josi. Haas. Niederreiter to Haas. Back to Josi. Haas works it and shoots, and a puck deflected wide off the skate of Severson. Marchini back to Josi. In for Hischier. Spins and shoots, and that floats wide on the deflection as well. Nurse gets to it and fires it down the ice.
Canada's penalty killing has been excellent in the tournament, just 4 goals against in the 7 games.
Ambuel. Andrighetto. Back to Diaz. Pass back across, and Moser fanned on that, and the return shot was blocked by Cirelli. At the point is Diaz. Swings it across to Andrighetto. A shot, scores! Sven Andrighetto, power play goal, and the Swiss have taken a 1-0 lead.
As rare as it is that it's a power play goal for the Swiss, Sven Andrighetto scores from distance. He's not known as a distance shooter in the NHL. Andrighetto was slick, but when Troy Stetcher goes for the one-legged block here, he misses it, and that's going to impede the view of Matt Murray. Real good screen by Moser in front too. Andrighetto in the last 3 years has 7, 8, and 7 goals. He's got a second power play goal of the tournament, and the Swiss, 18 minutes in, have a 1-0 lead.
Andrighetto in his 4th NHL season, his 3rd with Colorado. He's traded by Montreal to Colorado for Andreas Martinson. Andrighetto in and out of the Colorado lineup this year. As 4 plays in a round, so a power play goal for the Swiss. And they've once again grabbed the lead. Remember last year in the semifinal, they never trailed. And now Fabro back with it. Fabro taken down by Moser. And the puck at center ice goes to Stone. In with Dubois. Stone trying to feed that back across. And now swats it back in deep where it's picked up by Dubois. Back for Stone, a hard shot at the outside of the goal frame. And picked up and moved ahead by Fora. Back down to the Canadian line is Fabro. Lead pass for Dubois. Theodore chips it ahead for Marchessault. And now Theodore gloves down the clearing attempt and feeds it back in. Diaz up ahead for Hischier. Final minute now, the opening period. Here's Couturier with it, along with Cirelli and Reinhart. Rink-wide pass for Sam Reinhart. Winds in across the line, Reinhart. Throws it towards the goal, knocked down by Fiala. And that deflects and goes up and out.
4 for 35 on the power play. Good work from Fiala to keep the puck alive. And Diaz gets it across to Andrighetto with plenty of time to shoot it. He's got his head up, and it's a good shot. Snapped right inside the post. Murray doesn't have a clean look as the screen is excellent from Simon Moser. Stetcher doesn't get the block, and if you don't get the block and you don't get the forward out of the way, you're making it really difficult on the goalie. Murray can't catch up to it, and now Canada's got to chase a 1-0 deficit.
Chabot shoot in, knocked down by Diaz. Andrighetto plays it ahead for Haas. Gaetan Haas, a centering pass, Andrighetto in, shoots, Murray the save, rebound picked up by Chabot, penalty coming out of Switzerland. Touched up by Diaz. And it's going to be a goalie interference call against the Swiss that sends Canada to the power play with 22 seconds to go in the period.
Well, Canada's 10 for 19 on the power play. Matt Murray turns aside Andrighetto. Nice play by Gaetan Haas. Andrighetto's shot will be stopped, but he doesn't make any attempt to go in there or to change his direction. And when he gets shoved by Myers, again, he makes no effort to stop his progress. That's a bad penalty for Andrighetto to take. Andrighetto scores on the power play. Now he's in the box. Don't worry, we don't want to see you anyway. It's a penalty for Andrighetto, and now Canada's on the power play.
There's like 20 cameras here.
Yeah, they're going to find you. You're in the box. You're sitting down. There's nowhere to go.
Chabot bottled up by Moser as time winds down here in the period. Feeds it across for Turris. Kyle Turris moves it and shoots. Nobody knocks that down. And Canada will have 1 minute and 38 seconds of power play time to carry over into the second period. Andrighetto with a power play goal to pace the Swiss to a 1-0 lead after one. Shots were 12-5 Canada in that period. The one goal scored in the power play by Switzerland. Canada will have the man advantage for 1 minute and 38 seconds to start this second period. In another close game against the Swiss. We mentioned they've won 2 straight against Canada by 3-2 scores. They've won 3 of the last 4.
Go back to the Olympics in Italy when Martin Gerber laid that 48 save beauty on Canada 2-0 win. It's been this way forever. Now there are some holes unless Leonardo Giannoni took a little bit of calm, relaxing pills, because everything was hitting him 12 times. And about 8 of those 12s, there was a rebound. Canada will start the power play and look to equalize Sven Andrighetto's power play goal.
Andrighetto in the box for Switzerland. So Chabot, the defenseman, starts the period. Chabot up to Marchessault, swings that back to Turris. Ahead for Dylan Strome, jumps in across the line, drops it off to Stone. Back at the point is Chabot. Across to Marchessault with Strome standing in front. Marchessault in, shoots, Giannoni save, rebound, loose in front. And Turris couldn't reach that. Another rebound off Giannoni.
This has been an ugly start for him, but somehow he's gotten away with it.
It's not always an oil painting with him.
I don't know, what other kind of painting isn't very good, but
finger painting.
Okay, well, this is what it is. Doesn't matter, I guess. He's got a goose egg on the board.
Chabot back to Marchessault, winds in, rink wide pass for Stone. He missed that. 45 seconds to go in the power play. Stone holds in, try to center it, bounced away from Turris. Chabot slaps it across to Marchessault. Marchessault banks it around for Stone. Marchessault drifting in, down it goes to Strome. Back to Marchessault, quick shot goes off the leg of Yossi and back out to center ice. And Berchi, who's a quick skater, goes in on Chabot.
Roman Yossi's played 10 of the first 21 minutes of this game.
I think the Swiss were happy to get him.
That was probably about as a player as they could get.
Maybe the best Swiss player ever.
Now what an outstanding player.
Marchessault in, shoots at the goal post. Final seconds now, the power play picked up by Frick. 1 shot for Canada on the power play and 1 goal post hit. Yossi swings it ahead for Noah Rod, who moves in. Rod used sparingly.
That's
in the
his first
period.
shift. This is his first shift.
Drops it back, and Shervey with a shot that deflects off Theodore, up and out.
One of Canada's most dangerous players in the tournament has been Jonathan Marchessault. There's going to be some room open up in the middle. Look how deep Michael Flora gets. He's worried about the pass outside to Severson, so he gets inside his own top of the circles back to the hash mark. And Marchessault rings this off the crossbar. And another shake of the head for Canada as they don't cash on the power play.
Now that quick shot off the face-off by Fiala, knocked away by Murray. Couturier back with it now. Sean Couturier gains center ice and fires that down. And Giannoni leaves it across to Lawful. Up for Fiala to Hischier. Busting in with Niederreiter on the drop pass. Genazzi a long shot, and Matt Murray makes the save on that.
That was a slick little play by Nico Hischier. It looks like he's going to go out to his right. And then without even moving his head, he's got the vision to see Joel Genazzi coming up behind him, and he lays off a little backhand feather, and Genazzi fires a shot that Murray handles, but the Swiss get an offensive zone faceoff.
Gaetan Haas in for the draw. 27-year-old who spent his entire career in Switzerland.
They use him as a bit of a matchup center. They're confident in him to play a two-way game. He can shoot the puck and plays on the Swiss power play as well.
And pass called against the Swiss, although that was in the defensive zone, it would appear.
The Swiss shouldn't be very happy with this. Nobody's really noticed, but this shouldn't be a whistle. The only way it should be is if the puck was touched with the hand outside the blue line and Haas picked it up in the blue line. That would be a glove pass, but nobody seemed to bat an eye.
Turris lost the face-off to Haas. And now Yossi banks it to center. Severson up for Turris to McCann. Jared McCann works it back across for Jost. And Diaz knocked that away. Vincent Praplin banks that out. So Patrick Fisher using some of the players he hasn't used much so far in this game. Now Andrighetto winds in. Sven Andrighetto throws that behind the Canadian goal. Nurse with it. And Darnell Nurse trying to poke that around. Severson, lead pass for Turris, misfired. Icing called against Canada.
Well, Gord, the Swiss have 14 forwards dressed. Because they only have the 6D, they used up the full roster anyway. They got a group of 5 forwards, and none of them played very much, including Noah Rod that didn't have a shift, and Vincent Praplin, as you just mentioned, he had a minute 46 in the first period. Both of them out in the early stages of period 2.
Genasi leaves that down for Niederreiter. Ain't no Niederreiter. He watched there by Turris, banks that back. Lawful feeds it across. Genasi, a long shot, goes off a leg and wide. Brady Shea has scored for the United States, down 2-1 now in the second period.
Well, Corey Schneider helped get them out of that first period down just 2-0. Outshot 17-5 at one point.
Now Lawful winds and shoots, and a pad save by Murray that trickled just wide. And now Turris back with it. Kyle Turris lost the handle at the line. Moving ahead for Jost, but the play's offside.
It's the second puck that's leaked through Matt Murray today and gone just wide. This one from Lawful is a long point shot. He's got a clean look at it, and it goes under the pad wide of the net. Remember back in the first period, he made the stop on Niederreiter. That got through him too, and he was helped out by Darnell Nurse in the Canadian crease.
Canada, by the way, is the home team in this game, has the last change. Here's Fabro with it. Swings it across to Theodore. That was knocked down. Marchini lost it for a moment. And now Henrique looks ahead. Adam Henrique gets it back. Henrique moves in and shoots. Giannone headbutted that away. Joseph back at the line. Theodore's shot that goes just wide. And Fabro had it knocked away by Shervay. In comes Shervay with Marchini. Shervay in and a diving play made there by Shea Theodore to break it up.
Well timed. Good dive and stretch by Shea Theodore.
Henrique throws that rink wide for Theodore, who jumps in now to the rush for Canada. Roman Josi takes that away. Got spun around by Strome. Josi stays on it. When you talk about the best Swiss NHL players of all time, Josi's got to be in that conversation.
I don't know how he couldn't be.
Deflected down to the Swiss zone. He's just been such a stalwart for Nashville.
Here's the play with Shervay. 2-on-1, and look at the dive from Theodore. He puts his body in the middle of the puck. You talk often about a goalie that squares up to the puck. When Theodore went down, the puck was in the middle of his body. So that pass from Shervay was going to have to be high enough to go over Theodore, and that helps the goalie. If it does get there, the goalie's able to get across rather comfortably, because that would be about a 35-foot pass.
Off is won by Dubois. Theodore for Marchessault, rink wide to Fabro. Dante Fabro snaps that pass ahead for Stone. And Mark Stone moves it in. Now picked up by Christophe Berthier. Stone trying to pick his pocket. Berthier works back in, shoots. And Murray makes the stop on that. And grabs the rebound as Andres Ambuel is looking for it. Ambuel, the 35-year-old, plays in Davos. Always in the middle of things. Played 1 year in North America for Hartford in the American League 10 years ago.
Has played in 4 Olympic Games in 06, 2010, 14, and 18. This is his 107th World Championship game. 21 goals in his long career at the World Championships.
Here's Haas against Couturier for the faceoff. Haas gets a warning.
So they moved Praplin onto this line. We mentioned he just played a minute and a half in the first period, and certainly have enough forwards at their disposal tonight.
Long shoot in. Giannone steers that away. Lawful lost the puck to Reinhart. Sam Reinhart works it and shoots, and Giannone got a piece of that. And now Myers a sharp angle shot. Giannone the save. Cirelli drops it down to Reinhart. Feeds that down to Couturier. Back for Reinhart. A bouncing puck goes back to Cirelli. At the point, Myers shoots, but off the stick of Haas and wide. Reinhart to Shabbat. Now Myers feeds it down to Couturier to Myers. Shoots, and that cute off the end of his stick. Lawful plays it down, and icing will be called against the Swiss.
All that was from a misplay behind the net by Romain Lawful. He had plenty of time, and as he looked up, he sees Sam Reinhart coming on the forecheck, and a little bit of panic seeps in. He whiffs on the puck, and now the Swiss are running all over the place, and Patrick Fisher needs a drink of water to regroup.
That's the only option you have back there.
Yeah, that's about it.
I'll tell you, if there's an open bar behind a lot of benches.
That might be stop one for a lot of coaches.
Stone for Dubois. Now Traplin to the line. It's kicked ahead by Theodore. And Haas plays that down. Here's Stone with it. Mark Stone moves around Traplin. And Theodore plays it in. Giannoni missed on that. Picked up now by Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois back for Fabbro. A long shot, score! Tipped by Stone. And the game is tied at 1.
Gordon talked to Blue in the face about the shakiness of Leonardo Giannoni. He misses a rather run-of-the-mill dump in. This puck was from the other side of the ice. He whiffs on it, and it goes all the way around the boards. A nice play by Dubois to put it on the tee for Dante Fabbro, whose shot is about ankle high, tipped beautifully by Mark Stone. And Canada's most consistent player in this tournament, Stone, has his 6th goal and the game's tied.
Points in 6 straight now for Stone. Ray, for generations, the meanest thing you could say about a hockey player was hands of stone, right?
Not now.
Now it's maybe the greatest compliment, because does anyone have better hands in the NHL than him?
Well,
I mean, in terms of tipping pucks, chipping them.
There's not. There wouldn't be a half a dozen. No chance.
Right.
Like, he's in the very top of the league. I came to this in this tournament. Even though he doesn't play the same position, it came to me watching him play. He's the winger's version of Patrice Bergeron. I don't think there's a closer player to Bergeron in the league than Mark Stone. He just does everything right.
Yossi works in. Drops that back for Hischier. Now knocked out by Couturier. Back down to the Swiss zone. Fiala's trying to milk that into an icing call. It took the longest way back he could find, and the linesman wasn't buying it.
Now we'll see if Canada can get to Giannoni again. It's not been a comfortable start. He misses that dump in and doesn't really have much chance on the beautiful tip from Mark Stone.
In comes Fiala with the steal. Fiala works in, shoots. He fired that wide, being harassed from behind by Turris. And now Stetcher jumps up for Canada. Troy Stetcher works in as the Canadians are changing. Stetcher winds his way in a centering pass, and Giannoni got a stick on that and was able to freeze it. Mark Stone's got Canada even 1-1 here in the second. Mark Stone, a gold medalist for Canada at the World Championship in 2016 in St. Petersburg, Russia. Points in 6 straight. 6 goals.
There's not a portion of the game, including his skating, that isn't above average. He's not the fastest guy, but he's strong on his feet. He's got the IQ that helps him see the game half a step in front of where he needs to be. His skating, which was his biggest worry or concern, is not an issue at all. Hasn't been for a few years now.
He was a 6th round pick to Ottawa in 2010. Myers feeds it across to Shabbat. Shabbat a long shot. That was blocked in front by Fora. And Simone Moser slides that down. Murray out to play it. And Matt Murray to Shabbat for Adam Henrique. And Henrique drops that back to Phil Myers. Luke Myers plays it across to Stone. Shabbat spins and shoots. That puck knocked down by Yossi in front. Behind the goal is Diaz for Chervais. Up for Kurashev. He finds Ambuel with it now. Ambuel, a centering pass for Yossi jumping in, and Stone got the stick on that.
Okay, Gord, there's a perfect example. Yossi was behind Stone. Yossi's a faster skater.
Marchessault in, pad save by Giannone.
He got past Stone, but Stone's smart enough to know where the play's going. He's able to poke away a scoring chance. It's a terrific play.
Now Marchessault. That rink-wide pass is knocked down by Andrighetto, who has the Swiss goal. Sven Andrighetto fires that down. Still 2-1 Russia on the United States midway through the second period in Bratislava. So the Americans withstood that early onslaught and are hanging in there. Minus 2 fairly important players in Dylan Larkin and Derek Ryan. Ganazzi works in, drops it back for Andrighetto. Andrighetto shoots, that's off a stick. Cirelli has it back. It's picked up by Stone. Up for Cirelli. In with Couturier. Cirelli spins it on Lawful. Lawful took him into the corner boards. Haas. Battling the corner. Cirelli in there as well. Picked out by Couturier. Rolling puck, and Cirelli dove for that. Knocked it back in the corner. Haas swings it back across for Lawful. Haas trying to slide that down to the Canadian zone. Nurse blocked that. Now Praplin fires it back in. Approaching the midway point of this period, lead pass for Reinhart. Sam Reinhart being watched by Frick. A loose puck at the side of the goal, and McCann just missed that. Frick plays it back across to Niederreiter. Knocked down by Severson. Waits for teammates to get onside. Damon Severson works it back in front, in, and a chance there. Heischer took down Severson, who's lost his stick. Now Joe scatters up the puck, feeds it back to McCann, a long wrist shot, and that was knocked down in front as Frick got in the way of that. Here's Kevin Fiala. That pass knocked down by Henrique. In comes Adam Henrique, working it back. Hand shot goes just wide. Jost down to Henrique. Crisscrossing there with Strome. And Fora picks that free for Switzerland. Lead pass for Berchi. Christoph Berchi winds his way in. A long wrist shot was blocked there by Stetcher. Lead pass goes to Henrique. 3-on-2 for Canada. Tipped in by Stetcher. In comes Joseph for it. Drops it back, and a long shot by Strome. Swatted away by Giannone. Berchi looks in for Ambuel. 2 Canadians converged on Ambuel. And Stetcher brings it out for Canada. Flips that down to the Swiss zone. Dubois moves in on Diaz. Pass around to Stone. Feeds it back for Stetcher. Stetcher holds the line. Knocked down by Stone. Stone feeds. Marchessault fan on the shot. And there's Chervais back the other way for Switzerland. Chervais with Kurashev. Chervais in, shoots. And Matt Murray knocked that away. It almost bounced right to Pierre-Luc Dubois. Long time between whistles here in the second period. Shabbat knocks that down and throws it rink wide to Marchessault. Jonathan Marchessault through the middle for Dubois. He was poke-checked there by Fora. Back the other way. Andrighetto moving in. Sven Andrighetto in. Pulls it back in. Murray makes the stop. And the rebound cleared away by Shabbat. Now Frick a long drive. And Andrighetto almost got a stick on that.
Good stop by Murray, but Andrighetto had about 2 more feet. If he would have drove straight across, he would have had a better chance than trying to flip it through Murray. Murray held it and made the save.
Shots in the period are 7-4 Canada, 19-9 overall. McCann drops it back to Jost, but Turris was a half step ahead And the play is offside. Back to Kosica in a moment. Mark Stone, 27-year-old from Winnipeg. We saw him first in the 2012 World Junior Championship in Calgary and Edmonton. Scored 7 goals in 7 games in that tournament.
Seemed like all of them were from about 15 feet right in front of the net. At that time, he reminded me of Tim Kerr. His skating was a little clunky. He was stronger on his stick than it seemed to be anyone else that he was playing against. The puck would come to him and end up in the net, just like Tim Kerr used to do. But his game has evolved into so much more than that.
Tim Kerr, for those of you too young to remember, was a tremendous power play guy for the Flyers. He could have played the game in construction boots, but had incredible hands and was a load in front of the net.
It wasn't that old. I played against him.
No, but there just might be some people.
Well, I understand that, but you made it sound like seriously. You were broadcasting then.
Yes, I'm not saying I'm a spring chicken either. I'm just saying that there might
Dave
be
Poulin was a centerman, for crying out loud. Now Pooley's old.
Turris down to Fabro. And Janazi back with it. Lawful up for Niederreiter. Nino Niederreiter. Fires that in. Niederreiter scored one of the biggest goals in Swiss international history. The overtime winner against the Russians in the quarterfinals of the 2010 World Junior Championship. A shocking upset by the Swiss. And really, that tournament, a precursor of what was to come for Swiss development. As Couturier moves in, Sorelli was spilled and the play called offside. The Swiss in the last decade have really started to develop a lot of good young players.
Little look at the tenacity of Mark Stone as he is going to get himself to the front of the net. Now he's going to battle for position. See how he gets to the inside of Lawful. He doesn't fight and get outside of Lawful. He stays in the middle of the net, so when the shot comes, he's in the right position. Part of that is just seeing where the play is and being able to put the pieces of the puzzle together fast enough that you get to the right place.
Scored a career-high 33 goals this year between Ottawa and Vegas.
It doesn't strike me like he's going to go down offensively in Vegas. His numbers aren't going down.
Joseph in for it now.
Oh, Shervay can skate.
Here comes Shervay in on Myers. He can move too, and Myers, a great defensive play for Canada.
That was a good read by Myers. He was a little bit on the defensive side, and he's able to close the gap and poke the puck away.
Now Chabot jumps in. Thomas Chabot drops it off to Myers, moves in, shoots, that dribbles wide of the goal. Picked up by Joseph now. Myers feeds that back in. Here's Strome with it. Whose stick is that? Joseph picks it up.
Got to be somebody that changed for Canada, came off the bench. Everyone's got one out there for the Swiss. Look at Josie escape.
Flips that back ahead and swatted down by Shervay. Darnell Nurse. Lead pass from Marchessault. And Lawful back for it. Knocked down by Marchessault. Spins and fires that back in the corner. And the changing as Diaz goes back for it. Rafael Diaz pass almost picked off by Turris. Lawful for Diaz. And now Severson almost had it stolen by Ambule. Nurse, a lead pass for Marchessault, chips that in. And Lawful back for it. Marchessault back in the corner. Centering pass by Jost, and now Turris with it. Here's Marchessault. And Marchessault trying to walk it through. Berchi all over him. Now it's picked up by Ambule. Ambule with Berchi, 2-on-1. Fed back across. Murray gets the pad down. The puck still loose. They battle away for it. Knocked out by Turris. And Canada once again escapes.
It's 3 pucks in the crease that haven't gone in the net. 2 of them saved by Canadian players. As the first was by Nurse, that one by Turris.
And Rigetto drops for the trailer. Fora, his pass in behind Praplin. Back in the corner is Haas. 4 to go here in the second period in a 1-1 tie. Fora moves around Cirelli. A little backhand shot, gloved by Murray. And he'll hang on. 3:55 to go here in the period. It's still a 1-1 tie. Good chance for Christoph Berchi a moment ago. It's still close here, 1-1. It's still close in Bratislava. 2-1 the Russians lead. The shots there are 32-18 in favor of the Russians. There's still 2 minutes to go in the second period. They got 32 shots in almost 2 periods. But Corey Schneider's holding them in.
You hope your goalie can hold you in. You thought they weathered the storm, but the storm's still pretty good in the second period. Schneider still very good.
Yossi works in a little backhand shot towards the goal. That goes wide. Roman Yossi tied his career high with 15 goals this year with Nashville. And in 12 months' time, needs a new contract.
How's that going to go?
Well, for him.
Yes,
Yossi
sir.
works in. Being watched there by Reinhardt. Yossi works it back across the top. Wrists that towards the goal. Blocked by Severson. Niederreiter picks it up. Back to Yossi. Flips it in front. Fiala's shot deflected wide by Nurse. Couturier. Clearing pass knocked down by Hischier. Severson on it. And now Reinhardt digs that free for Cirelli. Late pass chipped ahead as Giannoni's out to play it. Squeeze that ahead for Niederreiter. And here is Hischier. Had some injury problems this year. Battled through a wrist problem all of his rookie year with New Jersey. In comes Joseph with it. Drops it back. Chabot, a hard drive. That was blocked by Diaz. Picked up now by Fiala. Chabot racing back as Fiala works in. And Fiala fired that wide as Chabot stepped into him. Now Henrique knocks that free. And back goes Haas to pick it up. Eitan Haas backhanded it really high off the glass. And Myers knocked it down for Canada. Myers got the call from Team Canada when injuries bit the blue line. They lost Brandon Montour for the tournament. Dante Fabro had the facial injury, so Canada was short, and Myers hurried over.
Hadn't played in a month when he got here. He's done a really nice job.
Haas, a long shot, goes off the stick of Strome. And that flutters over the glass. 2:05 to go here. In this period, it's over after 2 in Bratislava. Still 2-1, the Russians leading.
Berchi does a terrific job as Marchessault holds the puck too long. And it's going to be Dante Fabro that helps out first here. Berchi wants to go to the forehand. He loses room. Watch the stick of Fabro as this puck bounces, and it's Fabro's stick pushed right up against the goalpost that clears the first puck. This will be a good look at it. This one is close. and Fabro clears it away. Along with Turris, it gets the puck out of the dangerous area.
Off the drop. Pick free by Christoph Berchi, who was a 6th-round pick of Minnesota in 2012. He spent 3 years in North America, mostly with Iowa in the American League. Berchi drops it up. Ambule a long shot, and Murray makes the save on that.
Ambule's been in the middle of it for 15 years. Not the biggest guy, about 5'9", but he's always been a pretty feisty player.
His 18th year in the Swiss National League, his 5th as a captain in Davos.
Not so sure about that tape job. Just a little bit of tape on the toe of the stick.
Bobby Orr with the 1 strip of tape.
Now, Bobby Orr, of course, my idol growing up. When I read that he had 1 roll or 1 strand because he thought it was a league rule.
Now, Shervey got clipped with a high stick there, and there's a penalty coming.
This is at least 2. They'll go check on Shervey here. Doesn't look like he's bleeding. It's Marchessault.
It's going to be a 2-minute penalty on the high stick.
Boink, there it is. Now remember the Swiss, who came into the game 4 for 35 on the power play, the most power plays in the tournament. Had one in the first period, and Sven Andrighetto scored the Swiss only goal. This is their 2nd chance in a 1-1 game.
Ambule, Haas, Andrighetto, Fiala the forwards, and Diaz the defenseman. Scramble draw controlled by Canada. And Severson banks it ahead to Henrique. He's got Couturier with him shorthanded. Henrique for the trailer. Nurse in, shoots at the goal post. Right off the outside of the post is Darnell Nurse.
The Swiss fell asleep. Good work by Nurse to jump into the play, and it's the 2nd post and or crossbar the Canadians have hit in this period.
Ambule rink wide for Andrighetto, who has that power play goal, to Diaz. Back across to Haas in the corner for Fiala. Back at the point is Diaz. For Fiala. He falls and it's sent down the ice. Sherman, by the way, has left the Swiss bench. Final minute now of the period. And here is Josi with it. Lead pass, chipped ahead by Marchini. Hischier around to Niederreiter. Top power play now on the ice for the Swiss. Josi trying to thread that ahead. It's picked off and moved out by Cirelli. Pass ahead for Josi. Walks in and shoots, and Murray makes the stop on that.
Josi's shot easily swallowed up by Matt Murray. Darnell Nurse, who has been a workhorse for Canada in this tournament, their #1 defenseman, ice time at over 20 minutes, jumps up shorthanded, and his shot rings right off the right post. Sweet play by Henrique through the seam. Nobody back in time to deny Nurse that opportunity, and Darnell Nurse had career highs in goals and points this year, and he almost got his 2nd of the tournament there.
Scramble draw, the puck sitting there for a moment, and now Stone gets his hands on it and plays it down the ice. A little bit of a break for Canada. This power play came so late in the period, so kill off the 10 seconds here if they can. Marchini for Josi, swings it across, Haas, back across, Niederreiter a drive, rebound, Hischier scores! 3.8 seconds left in the period, and Nico Hischier has the power play goal, and the Swiss are back on top.
Nico Hischier's 4th of the tournament. This play is dead, really. There's no time left. Haas, a sharp angle pass that Matt Murray leaves a rebound, not quite cleared far enough away. Oh, this is tipped by Marchini in front of the net. And Nico Hischier comes in late and slams it into the far side. A rebound that Murray would like more to the corner and stays out in front of the goal line. And an unlikely Swiss power play is 2 for 2 and they will lead after 2 periods on those 2 power play goals.
So the Swiss take advantage of the power play late in the period and have the lead heading for the third. You're watching the 2019 World Hockey Championship. Our second intermission is coming up.
The score after the second period, Canada 1, Switzerland 2. Stát Státnutí a Kanada Českou podporují Belgium 1-2. Shot goal in the second period, Switzerland 9, Canada 7. Stát Státnutí Belgium Českou Kanada 7. It was the score between Russia and USA. 2-1. Bratislava je Stát Státnutí mezi Ruskou a USA 2-1.
Yeah.
Introduces the 2019 IIHF.
One shot, come on. Come in winners, guys. Stay right. Come in winners. Let's go.
Two-one the score here after 2 periods of play for Switzerland. In Bratislava, Kirill Kaprizov had just scored. The Russians have a 3-1 lead on Team USA. Nikita Gusev has a goal and 2 assists in that game for the Russians. So the team start this 3rd period at even strength. Canada was 3.8 seconds away from escaping that period in a 1-1 tie. Swiss have won back-to-back games against Canada at the World Championship, including their semifinal meeting a year ago. 4 Canadians back from that team. The Swiss have 15 back from last year's team that won the silver medal. Shea Theodore swings back for it. And now Stone. Rink-wide pass for Marchessault, and Roman Josi ranges back for it. Josi played just 6 minutes in that period, so 15 total for him.
And we'll see him about 10 this period, I think.
Ryan Suter is playing almost every other shift for Team USA. He's played 18 minutes through 2 periods in that game against the Russians.
Of course, you get to this point of the tournament now. Alain Vigneault has to look at the clock, and he's got to determine, when do I go to 9 forwards? When do I go to 4 defensemen? It's not yet, but you play a Swiss team that bends, doesn't break, melts minutes off the clock because they're so really well disciplined, and at some point you're going to have to push here. I don't know if we've spent enough time, Gord, talking about the loss of Anthony Mantha today, but that has been a critical one. Certainly in a 2-1 game, their leading goal scorer in the tournament is greatly missed.
Anthony Cirelli in, shoots, and Giannoni makes the glove save.
That might be the first glove save Giannoni's made today that he stopped cleanly. Cirelli's wrister off the wing is stopped by Giannoni, who's now faced 20 shots on goal. Patrick Fisher has gone to the 31-year-old Giannoni, who had played in the preliminary round and beat Norway and Latvia, lost 3-0 to Russia, but did not play the game against the Czech Republic, the last one. Reto Berra played, and Berra was pulled in the 2nd period after giving up 3 goals on 17 shots. He's the backup today.
That's the game where the Swiss pulled their goaltender in a 4-4 game late in the 3rd period. As Marchessault swings that back for Chabot. Poke down to Stone. A centering pass for Marchessault bounced away from him. The Swiss needed a regulation win in that game to overtake the Czechs. So the empty net goal didn't really matter. There's Dubois with a hard shot. That's just wide. Myers picks it up at the line for Canada. Feeds it down to Marchessault. At the point is Chabot. Chabot crisscrossing there with Myers. Played down to Stone. And Mark Stone back on it. Got tied up there by Forup. And now Praplin moves it by Marchessault and back down to the Canadian zone. Myers plays it back around for Chabot. Canada's lost to Switzerland last year, and the subsequent loss to the U.S. in the bronze medal game. Ended the medal streak at 3 years for Canada. That shoot in for Joseph just misfired. And now Niederreiter pokes it back down to the Canadian zone. Chabot for Turris. Turris pulls that free for Shea Theodore jumping in. And Theodore moves in with McCann. That shot stopped by Giannoni. He pounces out for the rebound as Turris was bearing in. Another long rebound given up by Giannoni.
Matthew Joseph on this line now with Turris and McCann. That's the spot usually occupied by Anthony Mantha. There's Shea Theodore's shot, a really good one. Blockered away by Giannoni, and then he's got a dive on it as Turris is the next one to the puck. Theodore's got 5 points in the tournament, up in the play quite frequently, and Giannoni's gonna have to make several good stops, I would think, in this third period, as Canada will push hard and the Swiss will try not to break.
In Bratislava, Jack Hughes is back in the lineup for Team USA. He set up Noah Hannafin for a goal. Now 3-2 Russia leads. That long shot knocked away by Murray. Cirelli pokes it back to center ice. Ambule plays it there for Moser. Looking for Christoph Berchi. Berchi, backdoor pass for Yossi, knocked away by Murray. Fabro back to Shea Theodore. 2.5 gone here in the period. Theodore ranges ahead. Swings it back down to the Swiss zone as Lawful goes back for it. Canada completes a change. Romain Lawful, long lead pass for Marchini. Chips that down to the Canadian zone. Murray leaves it there for Damon Severson. Severson got bottled up by a couple of Swiss players, but threaded the pass ahead for McCann to Turris. McCann in for Joseph. Matthew Joseph in, shoots, and it bounces off Janazian wide. McCann back for Nurse, a long wrist shot, tipped wide by Matthew Joseph. Rebound loose in front, and Giannoni pounces on that. With a couple of Canadian players, including Matthew Joseph, looking for the rebound.
Nurse's shot is tipped out in front by Joseph. It's going to hit those end boards, which are not very bouncy, but this one comes spinning off the end boards, and there's Turris again. Just a step away from where the loose puck is as Giannoni readjusts his catching glove. Traffic, second shots, rebounds. Those pucks will be around the net. They've been there for 43 minutes. Canada just one goal, though, the Stone deflection.
Face-off won by Dubois, back for Stone. Feeds it back to Theodore, rink wide, he goes for Fabro. Fabro's wrist shot is blocked there by Andrighetto. The third attempt knocked down by Dubois. For Theodore, swings it across. Stone, a hard shot that went just wide. Fabro, back to Theodore. Swings it down to Dubois, back for Marchessault, winding it. He shoots, and Giannoni snaps that out of midair and makes the stop with Stone standing in front.
It's amazing. It doesn't matter what league you are. When you turn the puck over, it seems like everybody loses energy, and now you scramble. Andrighetto had plenty of time to get the puck out. He didn't, and then all of a sudden the Canada forwards and the defense are now moving around the zone. That leads to Marchessault's chance. And Andrighetto, who scored on the power play, is going to have to be one of the relied upon forwards here. The NHL guys, they start to lean on them more and more as the period goes on.
Mikhail Gringorenko has scored for Russia just over a minute after the Americans got within one, so now a 4-2 Russia lead. Lead pass for Reinhardt, in with Couturier. Sam Reinhardt winds in. Trying to drop that back. And now Diaz goes rink wide. Yossi swings that down to the Canadian zone. That'll be an icing call against the Swiss.
Yossi airmails this a little bit too far, and the Swiss really haven't made too many passes here in the first 4 minutes, and this is where you get the sense when a team starts to hang on. A player like Yossi, who's experienced, has to be able to lead on the ice. It's one thing to make a speech. He's got to make a pass. You got to make a play to get out of the zone so your team can relax a little bit.
Off the draw, the puck moved back at the point for Stetcher to Chabot. Winds and shoots through the traffic, goes off a foot. And now a penalty coming to Switzerland, looks like. It's an elbowing call. Now, the Swiss have touched the puck, but it looks like Kyle Turris is going to go off for Canada.
That's the third time Canada's been shorthanded in this game. An offensive zone penalty for Turris, an inopportune time to take it. As we'll see him towards the front of the net. He's been tied up a little bit here. Oh, there's the penalty as he gets the elbow up on Diaz as he goes back to the front of the net. Turris is working for position and a rather inadvertent play, yet he sits for 2. And now the Swiss power play. 4 goals in the tournament with the man advantage. They got 2 today.
Face-off won by Couturier, and Nurse, who had a shorthanded chance at the goalpost earlier, fires it down the ice.
It almost feels like they have to kill this off. The Swiss just don't give up a lot. Just 14 goals in the tournament in their 7 games.
And Rigetto swings it around for Fiala. Tied up by Couturier. Nurse digging forward as well. And now picked up by Severson. Swings it across to Henrique, and he fires it back down to the Swiss zone as Diaz knocked that down. Diaz winds in. Drops it off to Fiala. Back at the point is Diaz. Swings it across to Yossi. Roman Yossi walks in and shoots and fired that just wide. Diaz back with it. Back for Andrighetto to Diaz. Diaz slaps it across. Yossi winds and fires. That just missed. That's 2 good chances for Yossi on this power play. Now Diaz back with it. Andrighetto moves around Severson. Peels back in the corner. 50 seconds to go on the power play. Here's Fiala. The pass goes off a skate and back down the ice. Joseph can fly. Moving in on Diaz. Joseph picks it up. Matthew Joseph works. See the backhand shot. Stopped by Giannoni. And Matthew Joseph made something out of nothing there, shorthanded. And now Marchini comes streaking in for the Swiss. Walks in and shoots. That deflects wide. Blocked by Cirelli. Knocked down by McCann. Lifts that high in the air and back down to the Swiss zone where Gaetan Haas is being watched there by Cirelli. 20 seconds to go on the Swiss power play. Here's Yossi with it. Gains center ice and fires that down to the Canadian zone. Fabro tied up there by Niederreiter. Haas goes back to Marchini. Cross to Yossi. Back at the point is Yossi. Turris steps back on. Haas in, shoots. That deflected just wide. 2 shots on goal for the Swiss in that power play. Yossi fires. Gloved down by Murray. Loose puck in front, and McCann races to it. At center ice, Yossi to McCann. Garrett McCann, a long shot off the shoulder of Giannoni. That rebound dropped right back high in the slot. Still a 2-1 game for Switzerland.
It's a good kill for Canada. They got the Joseph chance out of it.
Shea Theodore's pass picked up by Shervay. Moves it back in front for Kurashev. It's broken up by Marchessault. Chabot throws it back at center ice. And now Marchessault back with it. Up ahead for Stone. Dubois winding in as well. Stone drops Marchessault in. Works back in. Marchessault still on it. Shoots. That was blocked. Stone drops that back. Theodore able to hold the line for Canada. Theodore shoots. Bounce around in front. Oh, what a stop by Giannoni on Stone. Point blank on the deflection.
Maybe his best of the night.
Dubois spilled Shervay. Knocked down now by Stone. Drops it back for Chabot. That was poked away by Berchi. And now Theodore's pass deflected. Berchi goes back, being watched by Chabot, the first man in for Canada. Knocked down by Henrique. Canada gets fresh legs on the ice. Here's Sam Reinhart back in the corner. For Henrique, a backhand shot goes wide. Nurse moves up. Out the other side, Lawful had it knocked down by Reinhart. Looking there for Turris. Here's Henrique on it. This is Henrique with Turris and Reinhart now. Myers a shot that's partly blocked by Ambule. Turris back for Myers. The pass missed.
Henrique arguing with the official well behind the play. He thought there was a penalty.
Myers flips that down to the Swiss zone. Knocked down by Turris for a moment. Now brought back by Niederreiter. Swiss break in 3 wide. Niederreiter pass. Now hit Hischier. Hischier plays it back. Diaz a shot. That was blocked in front. And now Nurse picks up the loose puck. Kurashev, or rather Niederreiter and Myers getting into it. And up the ice, in comes Turris. Kyle Turris drops it off for Cirelli. Cirelli tied up by Diaz. Joseph comes in as well. And now Hischier got spun around by Cirelli. Drop pass for Turris. Loose puck on the side of the goal. Chance for Nurse. He pounded that high and wide. Back of the line is Theodore. Cross he goes to Nurse. Back in the corner. Turris feeds it back. Theodore, a long shot. That drifts wide. Turris dropped by Yossi. Theodore picks it up, throws that towards the goal, and Giannoni will hang on to that. 9 gone here. Tempers flaring between Canada and Switzerland. The Swiss with a 2-1 lead. Terrific National Hockey League player, and is drafted by the Islanders, moved on to Minnesota, traded to Carolina this year, and as we mentioned, took off after the deal, scored 14 times in 36 games with the Hurricanes.
Just his second game of the tournament after the Hurricanes were eliminated. He flew over and took him a day or so to get acclimatized. He played in just that last game against the Czechs. He scored then.
Face-off won by Haas against Dubois. Dubois knocks it down at the line, feeds it back ahead for Stone. And the puck just squirted across the line, offside called against Canada.
Starting to get chippy here as the frustrations and the tension starts to build. You're in the 1-and-out game.
You see Chervais with some stitches under that beard after being high stick.
Makes you wonder why it wasn't a 4-minute penalty. If he's got stitches, that means he was cut.
Yeah.
Maybe a break for Canada, although the Swiss did score on the power play.
Dubois wins that back to Theodore, but Dubois didn't do it fairly, so he gets a warning.
Just to finish that thought, had they scored on the power play like they did, there still would have been another 2 minutes left for Canada to kill, which would have been at the beginning of this third period.
Theodore moves in. Shea Theodore shoots. It's off the stick of Fora. And at the line, Fabro can't hold it. Fabro through center ice. Theodore had that knocked down by Haas. In comes Gaetan Haas. Drops it back, picked up by Theodore. Up ahead for Fabro. Dante Fabro for Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois to Jonathan Marchessault, a long shot. Giannoni steered that away. Yossi to the line, and Stone wanted that back in, but Canada has to tag back up. Yossi, long lead pass. Theodore stepped in front of that, but Andrighetto's got it now. Then Andrighetto steers that towards the Canadian goal, and Murray made the easy save. Lead pass for Cirelli. Rink wide for Couturier. Sean Couturier. Centering pass knocked down by Lawful. And now Simone Moser has it back. Midway point of the period. 2-1 Switzerland leads. Loose puck in front. Couturier couldn't get a shot away. Now Chabot steps up. Feeds across down to Stetcher. Back to Chabot. Thomas Chabot works in. The centering pass got knocked away. Now Couturier races to it. Couturier down to Reinhardt. Yossi stepped into him. Stetcher steps up for Canada. Backed up by Cirelli. Back down low to Reinhardt. Sam Reinhardt for Couturier. In, shoots at the side of the goal. And now that goes over the glass. They're saying it deflected. And there will be no penalty against the Swiss. 9:31 to go. Switzerland up by 1. Mark Stone's had his chances, has the only Canadian goal. 9:31 to go here. Inside 5 to go in Bratislava. The Russians still lead the United States 4-2. Shots in that game are 42-31 Russia.
They've evened up quite a bit since that first period when Russia just ran over the United States out to that early 2-0 lead.
Shots are 10-1 at one point. Now picked up by Niederreiter. Working with Fiala. Niederreiter walks in and shoots, and Murray steers that away. Nurse up ahead to Joseph. Matthew Joseph swings in, and he sure knocked that down. And Kyle Turris got spilled in front of the Swiss bench. Swiss kicking at it.
Turris is going to take another penalty here if he's not careful.
Diaz flips it back down to the Canadian zone.
Got to take a deep breath and try not to be frustrated here. You're just down one.
Nurse, rink wide pass for Dubois. Drop back now to Marchessault. In, shoots, Giannone save, rebound. Tip wide there by Stone. Now brought out by Haas. Knocked down by Myers. Lead pass for Dubois. Marchessault driving. Dubois had that knocked down. Now feeds it back down in the corner. Left there for Frick. He jumps ahead. Now Chabot has it. Thomas Chabot up ahead for Mark Stone. Stone up ahead for Dubois. Cirelli had that knocked away. Four up. Up ahead for Christophe Berchi. Berchi moves in, shoots, that goes high and wide. Picked up now by Cirelli. His pass knocked down by Moser. Cirelli gets it back. Drops it off for Chabot jumping in. Thomas Chabot winds in. Chabot. Sharp angle shot knocked away by Giannone.
That was a pretty crafty play. Giannone was looking at the puck going across the front, and Chabot tried to loft it into the top corner.
Myers knocks it down for Reinhardt. Feeds in front. Couturier shoots, that goes wide. And Moser races to it now for the Swiss and feeds that down to the Canadian zone. End of a long shift. And this will be an icing call against the Swiss.
Canada getting Myers out there with Chabot. Fabro here with Theodore. There's a good chance for Marchessault as he tests Leonardo Giannone. Giannone's made a couple of really good chances, or really good saves on Marchessault here in this third period. Marchessault also hit a crossbar earlier in the game.
Face-off one back to Theodore. Shea Theodore slides that down to McCann.
Now Joseph out again with this line. That seems to be where Alain Vigneault is going with this group. Going to be another icing call.
And Alex DeBrincat has scored with 2:50 to go in the third period, and the goaltender out. So now a one-goal lead for Russia on the United States.
You got to hand it to the United States, playing without Dylan Larkin and without Derek Ryan. They're hanging in. Looks like there's going to be a challenge over there, though.
Jack Hughes, 2 assists for the U.S. Theodore.
That goal will be challenged.
As Theodore moves in, centers it. Great chance at the side of the goal. Couturier turned away by Giannone. And Giannone reaches out and hangs out of that with a pile up in the Swiss crease.
Back-to-back icing calls exhaust the Swiss. Canada takes advantage and a great chance for Sean Couturier, who gets 2 whacks at it. Couturier, who's had 31 and 33 goals the last couple of years, takes this crisp pass across from Theodore. He misses the first one, whiffs the second, and he's going to get a third whack at it. Battling away in front of the net with Christophe Berchi. Really heads up sharp play by Theodore, and Couturier just can't get good wood on this puck.
All along the side of the goal, and it wouldn't go. Off the draw, Severson winds in, shoots, that dribbles wide of the goal. Joseph back on it. Matthew Joseph, a centering pass. Quick shot there by Kyle Turris, knocked away by Giannoni. And now Turris goes digging for it. Behind the goal is McCann. Pass for Turris, misfired. Heischier has it back now for the Swiss. Nico Heischier winds in, being watched there by Severson. Kraplin picks it up. He gets bumped there by Joseph behind the goal. Played across now for Severson. Up ahead to McCann. Jared McCann chips that down to the Swiss zone. Moves around Frick. Now Lucas Frick picks that free for the Swiss and back down to the Canadian zone as Switzerland gets fresh legs on the ice. Philip Myers lifts that down to the Swiss zone. And Rigetto gathers it up now, moves to center ice. Myers steps into him. Picked up by Haas. Haas steps around Shabbat. Haas has a look, feeds it back for Diaz. Diaz fires it off the end boards. Here's Andrighetto, a wraparound try, spins and shoots. And that goes off a stick, up and out of play. The faceoff will stay in the Canadian zone. 5:50 to go in the third period.
Thank you very much for coming.
Two-1 the score here, 5:50 to go in the third period. The goal for Team USA stands. So a 4-3 Russia lead late in the third period there. That game airing on TSN 5. Face-off controlled by Canada. Shea Theodore lifts that to center. It's knocked down by Haas. And now Berchi knocked that turning attempt down. Theodore has it back for Canada. Gains center ice and jumps in. Got poke check there. Ambuel brings it up now and pokes that down for the Swiss.
Toughest part of trailing in a game like this is what Theodore did there. You're trying to do it yourself. You still have to move the puck. You still have to make the right play. You can't do it individually. It just won't work.
Fora couldn't get that by Cirelli. Reinhardt to Couturier. Theodore in, shoots, and Giannoni kicked that away. Theodore back on it. Plays it in deep. Shea Theodore, the deep man for Canada. Couturier knocked down that clearing attempt. Cirelli lost the puck to Praplin. It's back loose at center ice. Inside 5 to go in the third. Theodore brings it back in. The top line comes back on for Canada. Here's Mark Stone. Stone drops it back for Shabbat. In, shoots, and that's blocked by Heischier. The puck goes over the glass and out of play.
Well, a mistake by Andrighetto to let the puck slide around the boards. Canada gets a scoring chance out of it. Kyle Turris is going to get one on the previous shift. He's in excellent position, and he rifles his, and catches Giannoni just beside the ear in the shoulder pad. Turris is in good shape to take the pass from Matthew Joseph. He gets rid of it in a hurry. That's probably an inch or two from going into the net.
Scramble draw, kicked out by Marchessault, but it's picked free now and moved out by Andrighetto. Shabbat with a rolling puck. Feeds it around for Myers. Lifts it ahead for Dubois. His pass picked off at center ice by Andrighetto. And Sven Andrighetto flips it right back down to the Canadian zone. Here's Murray. Leaves it there for Shabbat. Thomas Shabbat snaps that pass ahead for Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois brings that around. Stone goes to it. Leaves it back at the point for Myers. Philip Myers shoots. That was blocked, and a chance now for Haas the other way, but Myers stays with him. Played back down to the Canadian zone. And Chabot leaves it there for Myers. Back end for Thomas Chabot. Inside 4 to go in the third period. Turris winds his way in. Kyle Turris plays it down to Joseph. And Fora lifts it ahead for Moser. Simone Moser. That's picked off by Nurse. And Nurse fans of that pass. Quickly gathered up by Severson. Back end for Turris. It skipped away from him. Berchi back down in the Canadian zone, and Severson goes back. Icing called against the Swiss. 3:35 to go in the third period.
You see most of this period in the Swiss zone, the Swiss half of the ice. Ice the puck, block a shot, chip it out of the zone. Patrick Fisher's team is hanging on a little bit here. This is the mentality that they have to adopt. You're going to get run over at times possession-wise. Can you hold on? Canada keeping the heat, the forecheck, the pressure.
Swiss called timeout. It's after an icing. I didn't think you were allowed to do that, but can't in the NHL, that's for sure.
Well, it's a good timeout if this is from the Swiss here, as Kirk Muller and Alain Vigneault trying to talk about how their lines go out in the next couple of minutes, but also when do we get the goalie out? Patrick Fisher, who played 27 National Hockey League games in then Phoenix, is behind the bench, and the same guys have to come on the ice, but they're rested now. So Christophe Berchi will be taking the draw against one of the league's best in Sean Couturier.
And Couturier wins it cleanly back to Reinhardt. Severson shoots it, pinballs around in front, loose puck. Couturier still loose. And Reinhardt couldn't reach that rolling puck. Reinhardt, sign of the goal, that's knocked away by Fora. Here's Cirelli on it. Reinhardt picks that free for Canada. Sam Reinhardt slides it back to Thomas Chabot. Steps around Moser. Chabot. Rink wide pass for Severson. Back at the point, Chabot along wrist shot. That deflects off a couple of legs, goes back in the corner to Reinhardt. 3 to go in the third period. Chabot, sharp angle shot, and Giannone gloves that. He'll hang on. 2:56 to go in the third. Russia hangs on, beats the United States 4-3, the final score, so the Russians advance to the semifinal. If Switzerland wins here, it'll be Russia-Switzerland in one of the two semifinals.
The Swiss get away with a hook there as Andres Ambiol gets back to get the hook onto Cirelli. Sean Couturier had another sequence where the puck's bouncing around in his feet. He can't get it right in front of the net.
Off the draw, here's Fabro a drive. And Giannone got a piece of that. Now Theodore winds and shoots, and that goes off Gaetan Haas. Up and on the play, the face-off will stay in the Swiss zone.
It's a couple of blocks here in the last 2 minutes for Gaetan Haas. Haas, who had 15 goals in the regular season for Fairburn in the Swiss League, had 1 assist in the Olympics. They use him a lot as a reliable centerman, a two-way guy. Now he's got to take a draw against Pierre-Luc Dubois. Haas has not been very good in the draw. It's an advantage for Canada.
And Marchessault picks that free, but it's knocked down by Hischier, and he'll play it out. Keep an eye on Matt Murray in the Canadian crease to see when they call him to the bench. As Theodore snaps that pass ahead to Marchessault. That was knocked down by Haas. And now Haas up along the boards, but not out. Theodore rink wide to Fabro. That wrist shot was blocked by Niederreiter. Puck loose along the boards. Niederreiter kicking at it. Fabro trying to knock that free. And now finally does. For a moment, Niederreiter still trying to freeze it. Murray is making his way to the Canadian bench. Knocked down by Stone. Rink wide he goes. Theodore had that bounce off his stick. Spins and shoots. That was blocked by Diaz.
This is the good pull. The right time for it. A tired Swiss fivesome.
Dubois to Stone to Fabro. Across to Theodore. Shea Theodore back to Mark Stone. In for Theodore along wrist shot. Giannone the same rebound. Loose in front. And Marchessault couldn't reach it. Diaz to the line, but not out. Theodore winds and fires. Giannoni kicks that out. Inside a minute 45 to go in the third period. Fabro races to it. Dante Fabro plays it down to Marchessault. Marchessault swings that back. Theodore, a long shot. Giannoni can't find the rebound. Haas on it. Off the boards, held again by Theodore. Plays it back in deep for Dubois. Dubois tried to center it. Yossi got in the way of that. Turris on it. And now Niederreiter by Theodore and down the ice, and that won't be far enough for icing.
Well, Niederreiter's hurt behind the play, slow to the bench.
Theodore, lead pass for Reinhardt. That's poked away. Couturier swings back for it. Canadian net is empty. 1 to go here in the third period. Thomas Chabot feeds that ahead, knocked down, and played out by Lucas Frick. And the faceoff will stay in the Swiss zone.
3 or 4 times in this third period, the puck has been in the crease for the Swiss, and Canada can't quite get to it. Look at this puck. It's bouncing around. It's whiffed by Marchessault. Turris can't quite get to it. Giannoni stopped part of it. The puck's up in the air, and on the inside of it is Dubois. None of them can get to it. They're that close to the tying goal. So now there's a timeout. Kirk Muller will drop a face-off play with the Canadian players. The Swiss will get 30 seconds to try and regroup. They're hanging by a thread here as Canada looks for the tying goal.
Shots are 15-6 Canada here in the third period.
Here's another look at that. As Turris can't reach it. Marchessault can't get to it. Diaz makes a strong stick play on Marchessault coming from the left. And there's Dubois. He just misses that loose puck as well.
So the face-off in the Swiss zone. Back come Dubois, Turris, Stone, and Marchessault the forwards. Severson and Chabot are the defensemen. 53.6 seconds left. The Canadian net is empty. Back at the line is Chabot. Pokes that for Dubois. Dubois back to Chabot. Feeds across to Severson. Damon Severson. Long wrist shot. That was blocked by Gervais. Marchessault to Chabot. His wrist shot goes off a leg. Loose in front, and Giannoni's got it. He'll hang on. We'll get another face-off in the Swiss zone.
And this puck just lofted to the net by Chabot, but he knows he's got a clean lane to get it there. The whole play is just get it at Giannoni and dig around for some rebounds. But for a goalie that's boxed the puck around a lot, Giannoni does a good job there of grabbing a hold of the puck and keeping it so there's no extra chance. Turris won that last draw against Christoph Berchi. So Patrick Fisher changes, and now it'll be Nico Hischier to take the draw. Nico Hischier's never been a strong face-off guy in the NHL. He might be their best left-handed guy on this team, however.
Scramble the draw. And shot towards the empty net by Diaz. He'll just miss. Icing. Switzerland, 28 seconds to go.
Oh, you think the pressure of standing behind the bench is deep? Look at it now. You win a face-off, and your captain shoots it about 5 feet too far. Now you got the same thing again. Turris and Hischier on the draw.
Scramble draw won by Hischier. And now Severson steps up. Kept alive at the line. Chabot a long shot. Giannoni makes the stop, and this time there is no rebound. And the face-offs keep piling up in the Swiss zone.
There's been barely any play in the Canadian defensive end. Hischier can't get to it. Chabot rifles this puck. You see Dubois probably a half a step away from where he needs to be to get a screen and to bother Giannoni. Gaetan Haas will take this draw. Now they put Couturier out on this side. This is the third different centerman. I don't know if I've seen this before. In the last 15 seconds, taking a draw in the defensive zone.
Haas against Couturier.
Couturier wins that one too.
Puck still loose. Stone reaching for it. Swiss can't clear it out. Stone feeds it across to Marchessault. Marchessault in, shoots. Giannoni save. Drop back Marchessault. Another shot. Rebound cleared away by Gervais. seconds left. Stone feeds it back. Severson a drive. That's blocked by Moser. Severson shoots again. Scores! Right at 0. The puck crosses the line. And now the question will be, was there time left on the clock? Unbelievable.
Canada scored with under 2 seconds left to beat Slovakia. They will now review this. And the review will tell the story. Is this game going to overtime, or have the Swiss won 2-1? Blocker, pad, and roll into the net.
So now we'll need the replay with the clock burned in. It's a simple question. Had time expired when the puck went across the line? And now the referee, Alexei Rantala from Finland, will talk to the video goal judge.
The review from above, the camera from above, will show when the puck crosses the line and whatever the clock shows. This is it right here. This is the definitive view.
And it's a
Goal.
goal. Wow. 0.4 seconds left, and Canada has tied this game.
Shimon Moser makes a great block on the initial Severson shot. The puck comes right back, and Severson, who can shoot the puck a ton, 11 goals this year for New Jersey. He shoots it right through Giannoni, and a heartbreaker for the Swiss. If this is indeed what we're seeing, this is the official view. Blocker, and it goes right through the arm of Giannoni, 0.4 seconds, and this will count.
So Rantala talking to the video goal judge. Damon Severson, 24-year-old from Melville, Saskatchewan. The only time he'd ever played for Canada before was in the 2012 under-18, 7 years ago.
This goes back to the face-off circle. The Swiss used 3 different guys in 15 seconds. Nobody could win the draw, even when they got a hold of it. They weren't able to clear on that last draw. I thought Canada was sunk when Marchessault had the 2 chances, and then the puck went to the corner. But they were able to get it back to Severson for a couple of shots.
One thing here, remember back the review in LA? Remember the time clock review in LA? The clock, that's a clock camera that they showed in that replay. The actual clock generation is different, but it likely wouldn't be that far ahead.
The only thing I remember about that was Dean Lombardi's explanation with columns or something or other. I don't know.
Got into nuclear physics.
Yeah, it lost me on that. This looks like it counts.
Off the scoreboard camera, yes. Off the scoreboard clock, yes.
If this goes into overtime, it's a 10-minute 3-on-3. And if nobody decides it in that 10, then you go to a shootout.
This is taking forever. This is shades of the Anson Carter review.
Oh, we got another 15 minutes before we're at the Anson Carter thing.
And the crowd falls into a hush. Both benches. Rantala still on the headset. And now we'll get the call. This could go to the books as one of the greatest escapes in Canadian history.
After video review, looking did we have enough time for the Canada goal? The goal on the ice stays, we have a good goal.
It's tied. By the skin of their teeth, the Canadians send it to overtime. And now the Swiss have to regroup.
The shots were 19-6 in the third period.
And to your point, Ray, the last 6 minutes were played almost exclusively in the Swiss zone.
Eventually you get burned. This puck is right through Giannoni off the blocker, off the pad. He's square up to it. He's looking for it. and it goes right through him. The Canadian contingent, lots of family and of the players, wives and parents, and the Swiss can't believe it.
2-2 is the score. Overtime is ahead.
Goal for Team Canada, score number 28, David Saracen at 59. Goal Canada, číslo 27, David Saracen, čas 59. The score after the third period, Canada 2, Switzerland 2. Stav stretnutia Kanada, Švajčiarsko po tretej tretine je 2-2. Shots on goal in the third period, Switzerland 6, Canada 20. Stawiana w trzeciej trzecinie, Szwajcarsko 6, Kanada 20. As the score is tied after regulation time, 10 minutes supplementary overtime will follow after the 3-minute intermission. The overtime will be played with one goaltender and 3 skaters per team. Keďže po uplynutí jedného hracieho času je stav stretnutia nerozhodný, po trojminútovej prestávke bude nasledovať 10-minútové predĺženie dané systémom náhodnej smrti. Predĺženie budú oba týmy hrať s jedným brankárom a 2 kočuľami. Tak myslím si, že dnešní rozhodci boli aj vypísky predstavy a želať první štvrťfinálový zápas obrovská brána 290 sekúndy pred koncom vyrovnania. Vedúko Kanade na to
Damon Severson, the hero for Canada. And it's off to overtime for the first time for these two teams in this World Championship. The new overtime format is 3-on-3 throughout. Now in the playoff round, it's 10 minutes. And if it's still tied, there's a shootout. The gold medal game, by the way, will not feature a shootout. They'll play 3-on-3 until there's a winner in 20-minute periods. And the reason, of course, you have to have a shootout here is there's another game scheduled. You can't play endless overtime with Finland and Sweden set to play.
They got to empty the buildings, and they got to get the building back filled up again. And while some people don't like the shootout, I don't really know that there's a better way or a different way that they could do it. So Canada, I would suspect, has an advantage here with more offensive players in the 3-on-3.
Switzerland's throwing out 3 NHL players. Niederreiter, Hischier, and Josi. Canada responds with Couturier, Reinhart, and Theodore.
Not that Canada doesn't want to score on this first shift, but they want to melt this shift away. Get Niederreiter, get Hischier off the ice, and so you have Couturier out there for sure.
Theodore ahead to Couturier. 3-on-3 in OT. By the way, the Swiss have won the last 2 meetings with Canada, both by 3-2 scores. Reinhart winds in, drops off for Couturier. Sean Couturier winds it around a jam play, side of the goal. Giannone makes the stop, and now Josi tied up by Reinhart as Couturier makes his way off. Dubois back defending as Niederreiter works in. Niederreiter in, shoots, Murray the save. Picked up now by Theodore. He'll spin back as Reinhart makes his way off. He survived that first shift with the NHL guys on the ice, and now here's Stone with it. Stone for Shabbat. Thomas Shabbat being shadowed there by Andrighetto. Throws it ahead for Dubois, who's out there along with Stone. Pierre-Luc Dubois drops it off to Shabbat now with a head of steam. Here comes Shabbat across the line, lost an edge. And now Haas back with it. Dubois makes his way off. On comes Marchessault defending Haas. Haas in on Marchessault. And Haas peels back. Marchessault stays on him. Lawful. Back across to Andrighetto. He'll pile out as the Swiss are changing again. Andrighetto works in, being shadowed there by Stone. Back for Lawful. Works it and shoots. Murray makes the glove save, and he'll hang on to that with Romain Lawful looking for the rebound.
A pretty clean stop for Matt Murray, who hasn't had much to do in about the last 15 or so minutes. Canada's going to have the first chance of overtime as Couturier wants to get around the back of the net. Roman Josi, who's played 27 minutes tonight, is able to keep Couturier from the wrap.
Now it's Turris against Ambul for the faceoff. Josi's back out there. And Cirelli picks it out. Severson is the defenseman. Lost the puck in the corner to Ambul. Ambul's centering pass goes off a leg. Now picked up by Marchini. Marchini works back in, winds and shoots, hit a leg in front, bouncing puck. Ambul stopped in tight by Murray. Lino Marchini sets it up there for the Swiss, and they almost scored the overtime winner.
Oh, that was a dangerous chance as Marchini, who is 5'6", gets himself into the middle of the ice. This puck hits Anthony Cirelli. I don't know that Matt Murray had a real good look at it through the crowd.
Now, the timekeeper is called over the referee here.
It can only really be a timing problem, I would think. The official's heading right to the Swiss bench.
Telling both teams whatever's happening here. All right, so 8:12 to go in the overtime. It'll be Hischier, Niederreiter, and Josi back. Couturier, Reinhart, and Theodore back out for Canada.
Yeah, same 6 guys that started the overtime. Good. Anytime Hischier gets on the ice, you're going to see Couturier, it looks like.
Theodore spins back and away from Hischier. Across to Couturier. That pass knocked down at center ice by Niederreiter. Couturier back defending. Niederreiter drops it back to Josi. Roman Josi winds in around Theodore. Josi stays on it. Theodore stays with him. Josi reverses his tracks, walks in front. That shot blocked away, and Reinhart flips it back in the corner. Back across to Couturier. That line makes its way off again for the Swiss. And Couturier drops it back. Theodore will buy time as Dubois and Stone come back on for Canada. So they're rotating through these quick lines, Ray, but at some point in this overtime as it goes on, other players are going to have to come on.
Can't just go with 3 guys all the time.
Dubois in on Diaz. Drops it off to Chabot. Thomas Chabot works in. Chabot got poke checked there. Diaz has it back.
Chabot's being really aggressive up the ice here. And if he gets poke checked in the offensive zone, remember, you only got forwards back to defend.
Fiala works in around Cirelli. Kevin Fiala in a backhand shot, stopped by Murray. And now Fiala back with it. Being watched there by Cirelli. 3 gone in the overtime. This is Shervey, number 53 for Switzerland. He had blood on his sweater, so he has to go to number 53. Lawful. Move the puck away from Cirelli. Collides there with Marchessault. And Jonathan Marchessault picks it up. Away comes Cirelli. Got shaken up there as Marchessault brings it out. Marchessault winds in as the Swiss are changing. Moves around Haas. Marchessault peels back. He's got Turris coming on. Turris flips it back in the corner. Severson on defense. Severson knocks that down at the line. Feeds it back in the corner for Turris. On comes Jared McCann for Canada. And now Turris swings back.
Gord, now they're into the players that weren't out those first couple of rotations. Here's McCann.
In across the line with Severson and Turris. McCann to Turris. Has a look, threads that down. Here's Severson with it. Damon Severson. Lost the handle for a moment. Feeds it back for McCann. Canada resets now as Turris moves it in. On comes Reinhart for Canada. Turris and Severson make their way off. And Josi back out there again for the Swiss.
Might be easier to say when he's not on the ice.
And away comes Andres Ambul. Ambul across the line, being defended by Couturier. Poked that away. And Couturier strips the puck away, plays it back for Reinhart. Reinhart, rink wide to Couturier. Swiss making a late change. In comes Couturier. Sean Couturier in, shoots, and only knocks that away. Couturier got tied up there by Josi. And now Reinhardt has that move by him. Ambiol being watched there by Theodore. Couturier arguing a clip with a high stick there. Theodore back for the loose puck. Dubois jumps on for Canada. That's knocked away by Ambiol. And Dubois steals it right back for Canada. That was close. On comes Stone for Canada along with Dubois. And Theodore swings back midway through the overtime. Dubois chips that by Niederreiter. He's got Stone with him. Dubois works in, centers it. Stone scores! Mark Stone, the overtime winner! And Canada's off to the semifinals. A miraculous escape for Canada. 0.2 of a second away from elimination. And now they're on to Bratislava for the semis.
Heartbreak for Switzerland. Gord, it is crazy how something that shouldn't matter matters. When Pierre-Luc Dubois gets this pass, he doesn't see the pass. It goes by him. It hits a pile of snow in front of the Canadian bench, and it stops for him. So now Dubois can get it. The Swiss would have got to the puck first, or at least challenged for it. They don't, and then Dubois makes a perfect pass to Canada's best player, Mark Stone, and this is over. The puck gets stuck right there. Before Niederreiter can get to it, Dubois got it. Stone goes to the net. He's in front of Marchini, and Marchini can't get back on Mark Stone, and Canada has escaped a tying goal with .04 left. And Stone puts it away for the game-winning goal. A goal, 2 goals and 1 assist for Stone this evening. And this is over.
And Stone is now tied for the tournament goal lead. He's got 7, even with Anthony Mantha, who returns to the Canadian lineup for the semifinals. And there, Canada will face either the Czech Republic, the Finns, or Sweden. What a night for Mark Stone, and what an escape for Canada.
I mean, I thought it was crazy how late they scored against Slovakia. You'll not see one later than this.
And that goal against the Slovaks is the reason Canada didn't finish further down in the standings and didn't draw a tougher quarterfinal opponent.
This was plenty tough enough.
So Canada avenges the loss to Switzerland in the semifinal a year ago. And now we'll get the player of the game presentations for Canada and Switzerland. And you've talked about it for years, Ray. The Swiss have really come on internationally. This is a very good hockey country.
They don't break. They don't bend. They bend. They don't break. They didn't push enough in the third period, and that really became the difference. I know it was a crazy late goal, but the last 15 minutes were played in one half of the ice.
Leonardo Giannoni is the player of the game for Switzerland, 0.1 of a second away from another win against Canada. So the 5th time in the last 6 meetings between these two that the score is 3-2 between Canada and Switzerland. Mark Stone, 2 goals and an assist. Whenever they've needed one, whenever they've needed a play, he's been there to provide it. And now Canada will go to Bratislava for the semis on Saturday and will play for a medal on Sunday regardless. Now each team, or the Swiss rather, will have their 3 best players presented because their tournament is over. And these are selected by the management staff and coaches of the team.
So as we look ahead to the semifinals, Russia will be in one, and because Canada is ranked 2nd, as they each won the pool, they will be in the other. So Canada cannot play Russia in the semifinals.
It'll be the Czechs, the Finns, or Sweden for Canada in the semifinal. The Finns play Sweden here tonight. The Czechs play Germany in Bratislava this evening. And so now Switzerland's top 3 players, and they won their first 4, lost their last 4. 1 goal losses to Sweden, the Czechs, and Canada. Simon Moser is named one of the top 3 players. Roman Josi And Kevin Fiala as well. So the Swiss silver medalists a year ago brought back 15 players from that team. But a bitter disappointment tonight. They were that close to winning it. Damon Severson goes into the books. That's one of the miraculous comebacks. I mean, Jordan Eberle in 2009, there was 5 seconds left that night.
That's an eternity. This is, just think, Patrick Fisher's team, they're a half of a blocker away from the win. Hello, Benny.
Hello, Benny. Let us know when you're ready. The shots in the third period were 20-6 in Canada's favor. The 20th shot went in with 0.2 of a second left. One of the greatest
One
escapes.
second. I think it was 4/10.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
4.
Okay.
So I just, in case you.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I don't know that that matters, but
Yeah.
I just thought, you know.
The shots in the third period were 20-6 in favor of Canada. The 20th shot goes in with less than a second to go from Damon Severson. What an escape.
It seemed like no matter how much pressure that the Team Canada was going to put on, they weren't going to be able to find a way to get the extra goal. Jonathan Marchessault had several chances. The puck was in the crease behind Leonardo Giannoni, the Swiss goaltender, a couple of times, and it wouldn't go in. And then when Marchessault had a chance with about 6 or 7 seconds left, it seemed like that was it. But Mark Stone got the puck, found Shea Theodore at the point, and after a terrific block by the Swiss player Mosier, it comes right back to him.
And Severson.
What did I say?
Theodore.
Really?
Yep.
Did I?
Yep.
Yeah, 1-1.
There you
Oh, I can win this.
go.
I'll tell you.
Hold my beer. Now, hang on. I got a question for you. We don't know Canada's semifinal opponent yet. Do you want to wait and do this after the...
No, because we won't know
We won't know, yeah.
until after the game.
Yeah.
Unless we do it tonight.
Yeah, we should do it at the end of the
We
night.
should probably do that. Yeah.
Just thinking that, yeah. Sorry.
Good, because I wasn't trying yet.
Those don't count. That was an exhibition.
You know, you were here last year to experience the joy of defeating Canada in the semis. This year, you're on the opposite side of the results. How devastating was this loss?
It's definitely very hard. I mean, we were so close. We fought till the end. We were up 2-1 till basically the last seconds, and then found a way to win. So it's very frustrating.
Is it simply a matter of being a game of inches? There were chances being exchanged back and forth, and unfortunately, it was just dying seconds on the clock that was the ultimate result.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we had some great A chances early on, and obviously they had some great chances as well. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, it's a game of inches, like you mentioned, and unfortunately we lost.
Does it give you confidence, though, at the end of the day, seeing the next generation, the next wave of players in Switzerland like Nico Hischier and more that were on this roster?
Yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, we did a lot of great things, and I think we're going to be good down the road here. But at the end of the day, losses like that, it's definitely very frustrating.
Still hear the fans chanting behind us despite the loss. What does this support mean to you?
I mean, the support we have from our country is phenomenal. I mean, so many people from Switzerland come all the way out here and watch us play, and it's definitely great to have them.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Well, Mark, you certainly made this interesting, a game that came right down to the wire. You scoring the goal, the celebration, can you describe it all?
Yeah, it was a tough game. We used all 60 minutes to get it tied, and I thought we controlled a good chunk of that overtime. We really possessed the puck well, and Luke made an awesome play to bait the guy, use his speed and size, and ultimately just give me an easy tap in.
You guys had numerous chances throughout the course of the game, but 45 seconds left on the clock. Alain Vigneault calls a timeout. What did he say to this group?
Well, we've been working on it a little bit early in practice, our 6-on-5. These tournaments, you're usually going to need it. You're going to need to get lucky, or you need to score a big goal like that. So, yeah, like I said, we stuck with it. We had some good chances, and it feels pretty good for Sevi to put that one in for us.
Now, does this give you guys the confidence that you can really hit another level?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were playing pretty well coming in. We played an emotional game against the U.S., so I think there was a little bit of a letdown early on in the game, but I think now getting into the medal rounds, we know we're going to have to bring our best if we want to win.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.